He saw roasted meat at a forbidden shrine and took just one bite. But before the night ended, his body began to change, and by morning, he realized he was no longer fully human. In the ancient village of Isu, surrounded by thick forests and fertile farmlands, lived a young man named Obinna. Obinna was the only son of hardworking farmers, Aki and Udochi. Their family owned several farms scattered across the village lands. Every morning, before the sun climbed high into the sky, Obinna would carry his hoe and walk to whichever farm his father assigned him to that day. One of the farms is very close to the sacred shrine of the village gods, a place no one approached without fear and deep respect. No one dared go near the shrine unless they were sent by the chief priest, known in the village as Dibia Isamor. But each time Obinna worked on that nearby farm, something strange would happen. As evening approached and he prepared to return home, a rich, delicious smell of roasted meat would drift through the air from the direction of the shrine. The smell was irresistible. It was richer than anything Obinna had ever tasted. For many days, he ignored it, but slowly, curiosity began to grow in his heart. One evening, as the sun sank low and painted the forest in deep orange light, the smell returned stronger than ever. Obinna wiped the sweat from his forehead and muttered, "What kind of meat smells this good?" This time, he could not resist. Step by step, he walked toward the shrine. The place was quiet. When he got closer, his eyes widened in shock. There, beside the shrine altar, lay several pieces of freshly roasted meat, carefully arranged in a clay bowl. The meat looked juicy, inviting. Obinna looked around. No one was there. His voice dropped to a whisper. Maybe the priest left it here, or maybe it's meant for anyone passing by. That was the mistake. Without thinking twice, he picked up a piece and took a bite. The taste was unbelievable, even better than the smell. But suddenly, something felt wrong. A strange itching began in his head. He scratched it, but the itching grew worse. His body began to tremble. His heart pounded violently in his chest. Then, something terrifying started to happen. His fingers twisted unnaturally. His bones shifted. His body bent and stretched in painful ways. Hair began to grow across his skin. Obinna screamed in horror as his voice changed into something inhuman. As he transformed into a wild beast, terrified and unable to control himself, the creature ran wildly into the dark forest. All through the night, it roamed the bush howling, crashing through trees, running without rest. Then, as the first light of morning touched the earth, something strange happened again. The beast slowed down. Its body began to change. The fur disappeared. The claws shrank. And suddenly, Obinna found himself lying on the ground inside the shrine, fully human again. Confused, weak, shaking, he slowly sat up. Just then, the sound of footsteps approached. The chief priest, Dibia Isamor, entered the shrine. His eyes were calm, but filled with deep knowledge. He looked at Obinna and asked quietly, "Young man, did you eat the roasted meat from this shrine?" Obinna's heart dropped. Slowly, he nodded. The priest sighed heavily. "That meat was a sacred offering to the gods of this land," he said. "It is forbidden for any human to eat it." Fear gripped Obinna's chest. His voice trembled. "What will happen to me?" The priest turned toward the shrine and spoke slowly. "From this day onward, you will carry a curse. Whenever the full moon rises, you will turn into a beast for 3 nights. And when morning comes, you will return to human form. The only cure for this curse lies in the white flowers hidden deep within a cave in the village of caves." His breath became heavy. He could not believe what he had done. Shaken and afraid, he left the shrine and made his way back home. His parents were already waiting anxiously. They had searched for him the entire night. The moment they saw him, they ran toward him. "Obinna, where were you?" his mother cried. Obinna forced a weak smile. He could not tell them the truth, so he lied. "I got lost in the forest. A wild animal chased me. I had to hide until morning." His parents thanked the gods for his safety. They brought him inside, gave him food, and told him to rest. But deep inside Obinna's heart, fear had already taken root, because he knew something they didn't. The next full moon was coming, and when it came, the beast inside him would awaken again. Watch the next episode. When the full moon rises, the full moon finally rose, and Obinna could no longer hide the curse inside him. But the people standing closest to him that night were the same people he loved the most, his own parents. In the quiet village of Isu, Obinna carried a terrible secret in his heart. After eating the sacred roasted meat at the shrine, the priest had warned him that he was now cursed. But Obinna could not bring himself to tell his parents the truth. So he continued his life as if nothing had happened. Every morning, he went to the farm. Every evening, he returned home. But whenever he passed near the shrine of the gods, fear gripped his chest. He avoided looking in that direction. His parents were simply happy their son was alive after the wild animal attack he had lied about. Days passed. Then, the full moon returned. That night, Obinna and his parents slept inside their small mud house. Suddenly, in the deep silence of the night, Obinna's head began to itch again. At first, slowly, then violently. His heart began to race. He knew what was coming. Fear rose inside him like fire. Slowly, he stood up from his sleeping mat and began walking toward the door. He needed to get out. He needed to leave before it was too late. But just then, his mother opened her eyes. "Obinna, where are you going at this hour?" she asked softly. Obinna froze. He forced himself to sound calm. "Mother, I only want to step outside for some fresh air." But his mother immediately sat up. "It is too late for that," she said firmly. "Night spirits move around at this hour. Go back to sleep." Obinna's heart dropped. He couldn't leave, and the itching became unbearable. His body began to shake. His breathing grew heavy, then his bones cracked. His fingers twisted. His eyes turned wild and uncontrollable. Before his parents could understand what was happening, Obinna transformed into a terrifying beast. The creature's roar echoed like thunder, causing the hut to quake. His parents screamed in horror. "Obinna!" The beast snarled, pacing wildly around the small room. Its claws scraped the ground. Its breath came out in heavy, dangerous bursts. For a moment, it looked like it would attack them. His parents backed away, trembling. But suddenly, the beast lunged toward the door. With a powerful crash, it smashed through the wooden entrance and ran into the dark forest. The village dogs barked loudly into the night. Then came a heavy, suffocating silence. Inside the hut, his parents remained frozen, shaking, confused, terrified. Sleep did not come to them again until morning. At sunrise, something strange happened. From the forest, a figure slowly approached the house. The beast. But as it came closer, its body began to change. The fur disappeared. The claws shrank. The monstrous form faded away. And standing before them once again was Obinna, humanly weak, broken. His clothes were torn. His body was covered with scratches. His parents stared at him in shock. Their fear slowly turned into painful understanding. Tears filled Obinna's eyes. He could not hide it anymore. He fell to his knees and told them everything. He spoke of the shrine, the roasted meat, the warning of the priest, and finally, the truth about the curse. Then he told them, the only hope left is somewhere far away, in a distant land called the village of the caves. There grows a mysterious white flower, is the only thing that could break the curse. Silence filled the air. Then his parents began to weep, not out of fear, but out of pain. Their son was suffering, and there was nothing they could do but let him go. At dawn, they prepared for his journey. They packed food, clothes, and what little they could give him. His father placed a firm hand on his shoulder. "My son," he said, "this journey will be dangerous, but you must go." His mother pulled him into a tight embrace. "May the spirits guide you and bring you back to us." With a heavy heart, Obinna stepped onto the dusty road leading out of the village. He did not look back, but behind him, his parents stood watching until he disappeared beyond the trees. And just like that, the journey had begun. A journey toward the mysterious village of the caves. A journey to find the white flower. But the road ahead was long and filled with dangers he had not yet imagined. Will Obinna survive the journey? Will he find the white flower before the next full moon? He thought he had escaped the curse, but that night, he was trapped inside a yam barn with no way out. When the full moon rose, There was no escaping what he was about to become. After leaving his village, Obinna began his long journey to find the mysterious village of the caves, the only place where the sacred white flower could cure his curse. Days passed on the dusty road. The journey was harder than he had imagined. The food his parents packed for him slowly finished. Soon, even the last grain of food in his bag was gone. Obinna sat under a tree one afternoon, weak and tired. If I continue like this, he thought, I may not even survive the journey. But Obinna didn't know. The real danger was not hunger. It was the curse he was trying to outrun. So he made a decision. He would stop at the next village and work for a few days to earn money for food before continuing his journey. Not long after, he arrived at a village called Efo. As he entered the village farmland, he saw many young men working together, clearing weeds and harvesting crops. Obinna walked toward them. Brothers, he said humbly, is there work here for someone who is willing to work hard? One of the men wiped sweat from his face and pointed toward a man standing under a tree. That is Chief Okk, the owner of the farm. Speak to him. Obinna walked to the man and greeted him respectfully. Sir, I am looking for work. Chief Okk looked at the young traveler carefully. You look strong. If you can work hard, I will pay you. Obinna nodded immediately. I will work harder than any man here. But there was something Obinna was hiding, something that could destroy everything if it was discovered. But there was one thing Obinna did not tell him. He did not tell the chief that he was not from the village, and he did not tell him that he had nowhere to sleep. So every day, Obinna worked tirelessly in the farm, from sunrise to sunset. In the evening, when the other workers went home, Obinna quietly slipped into the yam barn to sleep among the stacked yams. Chief Okk never knew someone was secretly sleeping inside his barn. Days passed quickly. Obinna saved enough money and bought some food to continue his journey. His bag was almost ready again. For a moment, it felt like things were finally getting better, but Obinna had forgotten one thing. The full moon was approaching. One evening, after a long day of work, Obinna went into the yam barn to sleep as usual. But that same night, the farm owner and his workers came to arrange the yams for the market the next day. After stacking everything neatly, they locked the barn door. Without knowing, Obinna was still inside. By the time he realized it, it was already too late. The barn became completely silent. Deep into the night, Obinna suddenly woke up. His head began to itch, slowly at first, then violently. His heart sank. The full moon. He rushed toward the door, but the door was locked. He pushed it, pulled it, banged on it. Nothing. Around him, the barn was filled from wall to wall with piles of yam. There is no way out, he whispered in fear, and this time, there would be no forest to run into, no place to hide what he was becoming. The itching grew worse. His body began to tremble. His breathing became heavy. His bones started to crack. And before he could stop it, Obinna transformed into the beast. Inside the dark barn, the creature roared violently. It crashed into the stacks of yam. Yams rolled everywhere. Baskets broke. Shelves collapsed. The powerful beast tore through the barn in a wild frenzy throughout the night. And by morning, nothing inside that barn would ever be the same again. When morning came, the curse lifted. Obinna woke up as a human again, but when he looked around him, his heart nearly stopped. The entire barn was destroyed. Yams were scattered everywhere. Many were crushed and spoiled. The damage was terrible. And in that moment, Obinna realized something terrifying. This time, the curse might cost him more than his secret. Obinna knew one thing immediately. If the owner finds me here, he will think I destroyed his barn, and I will be forced to pay for everything. Without wasting a moment, Obinna grabbed his bag, his money, and the small food supplies he had bought. Then he ran away from the village of Efo before anyone could see him. He did not stop. He did not look back. Soon, he was back on the lonely road again, walking toward the distant and mysterious village of the caves. But the journey was far from over, and next time, the curse might not let him escape so easily. Will Obinna finally reach the village of the caves, or will the curse destroy everything before he finds the white flower? Find out in episode 4 of The Journey of the White Flowers.